Hey guys, how y'all doing? Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing my May wrap up. So I read a total of 18 books in the month of May. A lot of them were really small books, but we'll get to that in a minute. But I am so excited to talk about these books. I pretty much loved them all. So that's really good. So let's just get right on into it. So the first book that I read in the month of May is Only Mostly Devastated by Sophie Gonzalez. This is a YA contemporary Greece-inspired retelling. So I was anticipating this book for a really long time. I believe it was in my most anticipated books of this year. It came out, I believe, in March. I was really anticipating it because I love Greece so much, and this cover is just stunning. So I was instantly intrigued when I saw it on my Twitter, and so I was really hyped for it, and I was really hoping that it wouldn't fall flat, and it definitely didn't. I enjoyed every second of this book. One of my favorite parts of retellings is getting to see all the little nods to the original stories. So with this one, obviously it's Greece, and so I really enjoyed all of the little nods towards Greece. There was like song references, there were like little references to the Greasers and to the Pink Ladies in here, and I really enjoyed while reading it being able to connect the dots from scenes in this book that I could correlate to matching scenes in Greece, and it was just done so well. I loved all of the complex relationships within this book. We have Ollie and Will and their relationship as they try to navigate one of them being out as gay, one of them not being out, and trying to see how they can work that out and suffering through that, which I really enjoyed, that it wasn't this like perfect romance and that they actually were quite flawed characters and it was a flawed relationship, and I really liked that. This book was just a really cute, fast, quick read that dealt with some deeper, harder topics, but overall remained quite not fluffy, but remained quite light, I suppose. I think that it was really well written, and it was just really enjoyable to read. I was looking for a short, quick contemporary like this, and it gave me exactly what I was wanting, and I loved it so much. I really enjoyed this book, so I hope that you guys will pick this book up because I definitely think that it deserves a lot more hype. And the second book that I read, I don't want to talk about too much. I have a whole vlog dedicated to this book, but it is The Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum. If you don't know what The Wizard of Oz is about, where have you been living? It's a classic. But this basically follows Dorothy Gale. She's a girl from Kansas, and one day a twister lifts up her house and takes her and drops her in the land of Oz, and she has to go on this little adventure to see the Wizard of Oz to try to find her way back home. And along the way, she meets a bunch of friends like the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Cowardly Lion, and it's such a fun, cute little book. This is one of my favorite books as a kid, and happy to report that I still love it. It was just so cute, and it was definitely what I was needing right now, just a complete escapism book. Just definitely brought me that comfort that I was needing in the moment in time that I picked it up. If you guys want to see more thoughts on this book, then definitely check out my Capturing Classics vlog that I did for this one. It is one of my favorite videos that I've ever done, so I hope you guys check it out and love it just as much as I do. I would really appreciate it, but I loved this book and I could not recommend it enough. The next book that I read is Wonderstruck by Brian Selznick. I've owned this book for years. I bought it at Value Village literally forever ago, and I've just never picked it up, and I don't know why, because it was a really quick read. I read it in not even a day. I don't really know how to like describe this book. It follows two different characters in two different time periods. We have Ben, who is one of our characters, and his story is told through words, and basically Ben is trying to find out more about his father after his mother has died and passed away, and he's never really known his dad, so he's trying to find out who his dad is. So his story is about him kind of going on an adventure to find his dad. But then we also follow Rose, who I believe is from like the 1920s or something. I don't know, she's from a while ago, and her story is completely told through pictures, which I thought was really interesting. I've never read a book like that before, so that was pretty interesting. And what I really loved about Rose's story was that she was deaf. So there was, I believe, some sign language in here. I definitely need to see more deaf characters in books. I think that's really important, and representation that we're lacking. If you guys know of any books featuring deaf main characters or deaf side characters or whatever, any deaf characters or hard of hearing, let me know down below, especially if they use sign language, because I'm currently trying to teach myself ASL and I love it a lot, so let me know. But that was probably my favorite thing about this book. I don't know, I just didn't find the story personally to be very engaging or interesting. I didn't capture my attention all that much. It was just a really quick read. I'm sure that somebody would love this book. I just don't think that it was necessarily the story for me. I'm glad that I finally read it because it's been on my shelf, like I said, for years, but it's just not not my thing. The fourth book that I read, I don't want to talk about again too much. It was a reread, and that is The Unexpected Everything by Morgan Matson. This is one of my favorite Morgan Matson books, and I have never reread it until now, which is crazy. This came out like 4 years ago, I think. If you don't know what this book is about, we basically follow our main character, Andy, and she has her entire summer plans set out. She's gonna go do this really important internship that she's really looking forward to get out of her house, out of her town, and get something for her college applications and whatnot. Her dad is like a senator or something, and he's involved in this huge scandal, and because of the scandal, her internship is pulled from her. Her recommendation gets pulled, and so she loses her spot, and so her entire summer plans is kind of blown up, and so she has to make alternate plans. So she ends up becoming a dog walker, where she ends up meeting Clark, who she walks a dog for, and they obviously start a really cute relationship, and I just love this story so much. I love these characters, especially Clark, my little writer boy. He's so cute. I want a Clark so bad. And it's just a super fun summer contemporary that also, again, hits on some harder topics as well, but I love this one a lot. If you have not yet read it, I definitely recommend that you pick it up this summer because it is super fun, and I love it a lot. So swoon worthy. It's so cute. The next book that I read is Lair of Dreams by Libba Bray. This is the sequel to The Diviners. I read The Diviners sometime recently, and I liked it. Wasn't super like in love with it, but I was like, you know, I'm gonna continue on and read the next one. Unfortunately, I liked this one a little bit less than The Diviners. It just wasn't as captivating. I don't think this series, if you don't know, I don't really know how to explain it, but it basically takes place in 1920s New York, and it's like full of spooky, creepy crawlies, Ouija boards, barely, the occult. Like, it deals with a bunch of like spooky things, and I think that's like the best way that I can describe it to you. There's these things called the Diviners. They basically are people who have special powers, and that's kind of what the series is based around, I guess. I wasn't really that interested in all of the different plot lines. We got new characters in this book that by the end I did enjoy. I just wasn't as invested in learning about them. Really, the only storyline that I cared about was Sam and Evie's, and I knew that probably going into this book that was how it was going to be, because those characters are really all I cared about in the first one as well, and I definitely can't wait to see what happens with them next, because I will be continuing on with the series. But overall, this one just wasn't as captivating to listen to, because I did listen to it on audiobook. But yeah, I do have the third book, Before the Devil Breaks You, on hold at my library, and that should hopefully be coming in at some point in the next month or two, but this one was just slightly disappointing, and I think I have heard from other people who love this series that this one is just slightly below all the other ones, but I still liked it relatively. It just wasn't my favorite thing in the world, but I am hoping for better things for the following two books. The next book that I read was Of Curses and Kisses by Sandhya Menon. This was one of my most anticipated reads of this year. I don't think I included it in my video because I think it was already out by the time I made that video, but I love Sandhya Menon, if you did not know, and so I was really excited for this book. But this one, it's a Beauty and the Beast retelling, which I really enjoyed because it's a contemporary book, but with like a touch of magic in it, and I loved it so much. We basically are following our main character, Jaya, and she has just transferred with her little sister to this boarding school called St. Rosetta's, but she has some ulterior motives for going to this school. So they're going to the school because she found out that an Emerson kid, Gray Emerson, goes to the school, and the Emersons have recently posted like a scandal of her little sister, and so she's kind of out to get them, and so she believes Gray Emerson is the one that posted this scandal of her sister, this photo of her sister. She's kind of there to fulfill her plan of getting revenge on him and making fun of him, embarrassing him. So her plan is to basically make him fall in love with her just for her to break his heart in the end. We also follow Gray's point of view, and he has been plagued with this curse his entire life. His family has had this curse put on him by the Rayo family, and it's basically a curse where he believes that he is going to die when he turns 18. And so when they meet at this school, he sees that she has this rose pendant necklace, and slowly the rubies start falling out, and he believes that that is a countdown to his death. She's trying to woo him over, and he's just trying to see what she's playing at, and it's a really, really good book. I think that the Beauty and the Beast retelling aspect was done so well. I became really invested in this story and in these characters, and I honestly enjoyed every second of it. I had such a good time. I think Sandhya Menon is such a good author, and she tells amazing stories. I cannot wait for the next Saint Rosetta's book, which doesn't follow these characters. I don't know who they follow, but I'm excited for the book nonetheless. And the next book is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. So this is of course the Hunger Games prequel, where we follow Coriolanus Snow as he is mentoring the District 12 girl for the 10th Hunger Games, and that's basically all I'm gonna say. I don't want to give away too much. There are a lot of mixed reviews about this book. I have a whole spoilery vlog for this book that you guys can go check out if you do so desire. If you've read the book, definitely go check it out because I really like the video. There are a lot of mixed reviews about this book. It's a quite polarizing book from what I've seen. A lot of people either hate it or love it. I haven't seen a whole lot of people who are kind of middle of the road. I am personally kind of middle of the road. I didn't love it, but I also don't hate it or dislike it. I thought that it was a really interesting story. This Hunger Games in particular, the 10th Hunger Games, is a very transformative games for the games that we are familiar with. This is kind of the beginning of everything essentially. This is like the first real time that the games are made a spectacle of some sort. I think that Suzanne Collins did a pretty good job at having Snow be the protagonist but not be the hero. He was definitely still a bad guy. He's not a good guy. He is still very much an asshole, but he believes that what he's doing is right, and I think that's true for a lot of villains, is they believe so deeply in what they know and what they think that they don't think that they're the bad guy. They don't think they're doing the wrong thing, which is just really interesting to read about, honestly. And I really just kind of enjoyed, I guess, seeing Snow at a younger age and kind of seeing where he was before he was a true villain. I do, however, have two main gripes for this book. The first one being there were a lot of characters in this book between the mentors in the capital and the district tributes themselves. There were just a lot of names being thrown around at all times, and it was really hard to keep track of. I don't think overall that it took from my enjoyment of the book, but there were just times where they would say a name and I wasn't like completely familiar with who that person was. I just kind of kept reading and rolled with it. That was my first gripe. My second gripe is that the pacing was a bit off for me, especially in that third part, and I've heard a lot of other people say this as well. This book is divided into 3 parts. I'd say for about half of the third part, maybe just over half of the third part, was extremely boring to me. It was just really slow going. We just went from this like pretty interesting part 2 to this kind of boring part 3. So the pacing was off for me in quite a few different places, but overall this book was really interesting, and I think it definitely added a complexity to the Hunger Games books that we wouldn't have known without this book. There was just a lot of interesting information that was exposed in this book, which I really did kind of enjoy. It's not my favorite thing in the entire world, but I'm also not mad that I read it. I'm not mad that it is a thing that exists. I did enjoy my time reading it, so definitely go check out my reading vlog for this one if you have not yet already and have read the book, if you kind of want to see my reactions as I read. The last stack of books I'm really going to go through super quickly because I have a whole reading vlog that I just posted. It should be my last video that I just posted, but I read a whole bunch of children's books because I was rereading my favorite books from grades 1 through 3. So let me just run through them really quickly in case you haven't seen that video. Where the Wild Things Are by Maurice Sendak, Junie Jones and Her Big Fat Mouth, Junie Jones and That Meanie Jim's Birthday, Junie Jones Loves Handsome Warren, Junie Jones Has a Monster Under Her Bed, Junie Jones and the Mushy Gushy Valentine, Junie Jones is a Graduation Girl, and Junie First Grader Toothless Wonder, Flat Stanley and Invisible Stanley, and of course Judy Moody. So I read all of these for that video, so if you want to go check that out to see all my thoughts on these, and definitely go ahead and do that. But just know that I had so much fun rereading all of these, particularly all my Junie Jones books. I'm honestly in such a Junie B. Jones mood right now, and yes, I am almost 20 years old. Do I care? No, I do not. But the second that I feel comfortable going to a Value Village amidst this pandemic, I'm gonna go pick up as many of these books as I can find because I need to own them all. But that was my May wrap up. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give it a huge thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Comment down below what books you read in the month of May because I'd really like to know. Also, let me know if you read any of these books and what your thoughts are on them. Subscribe if you've not yet already, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!